What's going on, everybody? I want to thank you if you're watching this. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. But this is going to be another of my um, five movies that I think are underrated, underseen, whatever you know terminology of vernacular you want to put on there. Um, so we're going to talk about them. These are movies that I think deserve more attention, have good replay quality, and so yeah, I'm not gonna over talk it and overcomplicate something that's fairly simplistic. So let's get right into it. My first movie is Daybreakers. Now this particular movie, I don't love it. But I know people who do. I know people who are huge fans of this movie, and I think the concept's very interesting. Vampires have essentially taken over the world. They have become the dominant species. They have become the dominant group on the planet, and they harvest people, humans, for their blood. But the blood is running in short supply, and the vampires, who are kind of like again like humans, articulate, civilized, they're turning feral. And Ethan Hawke plays the hematologist who is trying to um, come up with a blood substitute, and he has a lot of empathy for the humans. And then he is taken by Willem Dafoe and his group of human survivors, and he helps them find a cure for for vampirism. But it's just a really fun movie. There's a few things that I think they kind of gloss over and don't really give you a solid answer to certain things, and there's certain things that kind of like, how's this going to work? There's just things in there that I think are very underdeveloped. But overall, it's a good movie. I think it's definitely worth your time. Next is a movie called Dead Girl. And this movie, I can't say it's a good movie. I mean, it's well made and everything, but I mean, I can't sit here and say, "Oh, this is a great movie." But it's a interesting one. And basically about two guys, high school losers, societal outcasts, and they go down to this local abandoned former mental hospital, and they're checking it out. And they go down to the basement. One of the rooms is locked, and they go in the room and they find a girl who at first they think is dead, but then she comes to life, and she's completely, you know, undressed. And what follows is very uncomfortable. One of the boys is like, "We have to go. We have to get out of here." Other boy is like, "I see opportunity," and he proceeds to um, use this young woman as his own personal just she's a zombie. He's like, oh, she's a zombie anyway. She's not even human, so I'm going to just um, have sex with her anytime I want. And the moral construct of, is that all right? Is it not? You know, despite being no longer a human, did they still have the right to do that to her? So all that's kind of explored in here. They bring another one of their friends in, and the whole movie is just kind of gross. Like I said, it wasn't a bad movie, but it's not one I would ever watch again. But it is worth seeing, I think, at least once. It is worth at least one view. Um, Now I obviously collect, so I bought it. Unless you're a collector, I would say you can probably just try to stream this or borrow it from somebody. I don't think it's necessarily one you need to buy. Like I said, unless you're a collector. I mean, I Spit on Your Grave and Martyrs and um, Cannibal Holocaust. So, I have a few that I bought that I won't watch any regularity, and this would be added to that list. Um, but again, I mean, it's not a bad movie. It's well acted. It brings up some really interesting moral. It brings up the question of morality, and like I said, it's worth seeing at least once. But it's very uncomfortable. And then the ending kind of leaves a question up in the air, like because the guy that was against it the whole time. Something happens in the end, and it's kind of like, did he forego everything he said? Like, did he? But yeah, you have to watch it to see. But it's an interesting question in the end, or interesting place they leave you. So I'll leave it at that. But it's a good. It's well made, but not one I'll probably ever watch again. Next, Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. This is the remake. Um, I really like this movie. It's such a fun little creature feature. There are moments in there, one specifically involving I think he was like a maintenance guy, and he falls, and they try to explain it away by saying it was an accident. It's pretty. And people will say, "Well, that's so stupid." But unfortunately, very unfortunately, it's hard for me to ever look at a movie ever again and say that, oh, nobody would ever believe that. Nobody's that stupid. When when Donald Trump's been voted president twice. Yeah. That ruined the entire thought process of, oh, nobody's that stupid. I don't know. I don't know if I can ever say that ever again in a movie. Nobody's that stupid. Well, 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 I don't know about that. Yeah, I think in more than one ways, him being voted president has ruined a lot. And um, one of the main thing is I can never, ever, 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 ever say anyone in the movies and look at something that they do and say nobody's that stupid. I can never say that again. What's up, baby? How you doing? I'll talk to you in a minute, okay? My son. So yeah, I don't know if I can ever say that again. I don't think that can ever be an expression we use anymore in movies. Well, nobody's that stupid. I wish that were true. But outside of that, I mean, in movies, I think it's just fun. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend it's a masterpiece or it's amazing, but I think it's a fun film. Um, I think the little girl gives a good performance. I think the creatures are actually pretty cool looking. They're like little grayish monsters. They're fun. It's a fun movie. You know, I'm not going into it looking for um, high high art. I don't know what there's an art to horror films. So I don't like, I'll take that back. There's an art to it. There's an art to the producing scares and the art to making these monsters. So I'll take that back. There's an art to it. I know. I think this movie is really good. I really do. It's not gonna comfortably rest at the very top of creature features ever made. But it's an effective one. It is a fun one. It's one I enjoy watching. And I've watched several times, and I'll continue to watch it several times. Next, disturbing behavior. Here's a story about this. Back when Blockbuster was still around, I remember I saw this on the shelf of Blockbuster. And for you kids that don't, oh, Katie Holmes into movies. That was not purposeful, but still interesting. Katie Holmes is in here, and she's in Don't Be Afraid of the Dark as well. This is a very young Katie Holmes. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so in Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, whatever you are, you utilized, you would walk in, and the shelves would be lined with DVDs. Sometimes VHSs, but we're going back way, way, way back with that one. And so we didn't have online forums and social media and all these things that have connected us, and that the same fucking thing people on social media or social horror movie pages on like Facebook. What's the scariest movie, you guys? I want a scary movie recommendation. Like Christ, like I mean, it's the same fucking question over and over again. But I I I I digress. But anyway, so we will look at covers. And if the cover caught our attention, if the cover was something that we thought was interesting, that's how we ultimately would decide if we wanted to rent a movie that wasn't a big blockbuster. So, not like Jurassic Park, E.T., Jaws, Star Wars, Batman. Like, obviously, everyone knew them. But the ones that maybe weren't as well known, or that were a little bit older, that, before our time, we found them by looking at the cover art. And disturbing, I remember seeing this on a shelf and said, you know what? It looks pretty interesting. So I asked my foster mom to rent it for me. At first she said no. She was like, no, you're not renting that. I kept asking her over and over. I'm very persistent. I kept asking her, please, can I rent it? Please, it looks so cool. I just want to see it. And finally she's like, fine. I remember renting it and watching it, and I was like, it blew my mind. So fast forward, Jesus, 20 years. I'm listening to somebody on YouTube, and they bring up disturbing behavior. I'm like, holy shit. I haven't heard that name. I feel like Obi-Wan Kenobi and A New Hope. This name I've not heard in a long, long time. I'm like, you know what? I remember that movie. Damn. I remember wanting to see it so bad when I was young. So I went online. It was super cheap on eBay. So I picked it up and watched it. And you know what? It was fun. It was really fun. It's complete just early 2000s esque. That style and that way of those actors. So it's if you enjoy or are nostalgic for that era, that early 2000s, especially the early 2000, like Scream, The Faculty. I know we did last summer. Movies like that. This will definitely be one of your new go tos. But it's fun. It's a fun movie. And essentially, it's about the high school kids that I see their friends turn into proper and just well to do students, and somebody's essentially is brainwashing them. And it's just a wild, crazy, over the top concept, but it's so fun. It's so fun to watch. And like I said, it's for me at least. If anyone from that time period, it's super nostalgic. So if you love early 2000s horror movies, you this has to be. If you haven't seen it, this is going to be one of your new favorites. If you have seen it, but like me, it's been a while, check it back out. It may not hold up from when we were younger, but I think it's still worth a view. Finally, this one we call Starfish. So imagine if David Lynch and H.P. Lovecraft had a baby. That would be Starfish. Let me tell you something. If you don't like non-linear, abstract films, don't waste your time. This is if you don't like movies that don't answer questions, um, or don't give you answers to questions, or don't, we'll tell you a little bit, but won't give you all the details, this movie's not for you. But to give you the setup, this young lady, this young girl, I say young, like early 20s, she left her hometown, came back when her best friend passed away. And so she goes into her apartment to kind of like, because she's grieving, like they were very close. And while in her apartment, she finds like this um, mixtape, little tape that she left her. She listens to it, and then weird things are happening. And next thing you know, basically everyone disappears. Like the world ends, and there's like big HB Lovecraftian type monsters walking around, and there's this guy on the radio, and like this like the handheld radio, and I guess like a walkie-talkie, whatever, and he's trying to help her, and it's just from there, just very weird. And from what I gathered from the little bit I saw, is that she was in a relationship. And if they said what it was, I missed it. I don't know if they were just boyfriend, girlfriend, married, engaged, whatever. But eventually, essentially, she cheated on him. Now, why, with who, what led her to do that? Was she unhappy with the relationship? Was it someone who she knew from the past, who she had feeling for? None of that's answered, so we don't know. We didn't know that she cheated, and that mistake led her to leaving her best friend, and then her best friend passes away, and she is feeling a lot of grief and pain that she wasn't there for her. And so, um, and there's it's weird. There's a lot of weird kind of indie music. There's a animated segment in there. It gets weird. It gets very strange, and the ending's even more just out there. Just has a very Lynchian, Lovecraftian. If if neither one of those um, storytellers are your cup of tea, don't waste your time. But if you like weird, abstract, cosmic like horror that tells a non-linear story, because the film's beautiful. It's gorgeous. And it does tell a story. It just tells it in pictures. It tells it in frames. You don't get everything, but you get enough to at least know what's going on. But it's so well made. It's so beautiful. The lead actress is gorgeous. Um, the monsters are, they're there, but you don't see a lot of them. You see, that's another thing. It's there's not a lot of monsters or creatures in here. There are a handful, but they're not the main, jux of the story. But Starfish was an emotional ride and an emotional story. And there's a lot of visual art here. But I think, like I said, if you like that type of stuff, I think it's worth watching. But anyway, that's my 5 for the day. Like I said, other than this is a unique 5. These like Starfish, I would say I can only recommend that if you like that type of movie. Dead Girl, I mean, I think it's worth one watch, but outside of that, Daybreakers I think is good. I don't love it, but I think it's a fun. I love the concept more than I love the movie. If that makes any sense. Disturbing Behavior. I don't know if you're not nostalgic or you're not a lover of that early 2000s type of horror, if you'll like it. So it's hard for me to really recommend it unless you're a fan of that. Don't Be Afraid of the Dark is just a great creature feature. Everyone should see this. So yeah, 5 films I think with some of the asterisks are worth seeing. I love to have everyone else tell me, have you seen these movies? Do you plan on seeing them? And if you have seen them, what did you think of them? Did you like them? Did you enjoy them? I love to know. But anyway, thank you for watching, guys. As always, be safe.